Willie D. Live.
What's up, family? The plot thickens. We are going to get to the bottom of what happened to Nolan Wells, one way or the other. All you people out there who got some information, you may as well come on now with it. I'm telling you, because if you was involved, and we find out later, you will pay. Oh yeah, I know you're in Mississippi and you think you're safe. I know you think you're safe. But there is a jurisdiction that is greater than Mississippi. That's right. That's right. Y'all think y'all safe in Mississippi. But keep on playing. I'm telling you, if you know something, you better say something. Remember, whoever come forward first usually get the better deal. Okay, let's talk about this CETO call. This is the emergency call placed for the alleged sinking boat that Nolan and his friends were on. Yeah. Anyway, fam, um, we heard what we heard, and we didn't hear anything else. So y'all can stop all the gaslighting, talking about how the call was rigged. Rigged how? CETO is an independent organization. They're not riding for one side or the other. They're not with the so called boys who are really men or Nolan Wells' family. They're just right there in the middle. If they were, we would have never gotten that call. You got to think about that. We would have never gotten to hear the recording. That recording, man, that recording set it off. And then when Jeanetta Brantley went in and cleaned it up, and we heard even more, that's what it is, man. I don't care what y'all say. You can bring in all the experts you want now. We already heard from the expert. We heard from the premier expert, Jeanetta Brantley, better than all your experts. Yeah, and I'm only saying it because she beat everybody else to the punch. Well, that ain't the only reason why I'm saying it. She also got that black woman magic, so I'm gonna brag about that. Yeah, man, yeah, yeah. No, y'all hate it. Y'all want to discredit her because she's a black woman and she outfoxed the foxes. Yeah. Uh-huh. So now we have other dispatchers stepping up and authenticating the call. They're saying, yeah, they haven't taken the call and broke it apart or anything like that, broke it down, but they've listened to the call just like the rest of us. And they're saying, yeah, that's pretty much how it go. Uh, that's the way it go. Because there was some question about how they were talking before the dispatcher actually got on the phone and how all of that they were saying was recorded. Thank God it was recorded. So here are a few dispatchers explaining how things go. It's a couple of dispatchers actually. So this is one person says, get the boat call Warren made. He was dead on the boat. And then Terry B says this. She says, people keep saying the call was rigged based on when it was recorded and when she spoke. Former dispatcher here. It starts before they speak the minute it comes in as 911. After I saw this and heard, sounds like it needs to be analyzed further. And then the other person says, Kim says, I think you are on to something. I think he was dead on the boat. And they circled around and dumped his body on that beach. Mm. So they are saying that they believe he was dead on the boat. I wonder what caused them to believe that. Perhaps the phone call? Yeah. Here's another dispatcher. I've worked in call centers for 15 years and I've heard many of my own calls. There have been several companies who start the recording prior to you saying anything. That CTO call was absolutely real. I ain't got no problem with that, but some of y'all do, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. How y'all gonna get around that call? How you gonna get around it? How you gonna get around justice for Nolan Wells? Yeah, you know when it's this much pressure, when it's this many people, usually it takes an act of Congress to stop it. Because they can stop it. You know, they have shown over time the propensity to circumvent justice. So if they want to, they can stop it. But also, if they wanted to give justice, they could. All they got to do is start interviewing everybody. Shake it down, man. Shake everybody down. Talk to everybody in separate rooms. They'll talk. They are guaranteed to talk. If they can get mob bosses and underbosses to talk, they can damn sure get little wet behind the ears teenagers to talk. They absolutely would talk. Their future would flash right in front of them. All you gotta do is start saying, "You ready to go to prison for 25 years, 30 years, 40 years?" They're gonna start. They're gonna think about it. Oh, I'm 18 now. If I go to prison, I'll be I'll be 65. Okay, this what happened. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'll just be honest. You know they're gonna cry because they love to cry, right? They're gonna cry. They gonna cry. Just I'll be honest. This is what happened. You got to get people involved who are interested in seeing justice. Right now, I don't believe anybody in Mississippi in law enforcement that are close to the case. Anybody that's close to the case, I don't think any of them are interested in seeing justice, except perhaps the CETO people. And they could end up, you know, backtracking simply because they got to live in Ocean Springs. They got to live there. Man, all those people that's out there in Ocean Springs, most of those people with those businesses, all those people that live in that community, they scared to death. They're scared to death of going against the grain, right? Going against the grain looks like being supportive of justice, being supportive of Nolan Wells' parents. That's going against the grain. The people who are suspected of harming him, they've lawyered up, they've uh, they've invoked the Darvo method. They are saying that they are victims now. We got a real victim, right? We got a dead child. And now they've made it about them. They've made themselves the victim. Oftentimes what happens is, you got people out there who are very good at creating chaos and playing the victim. This is an old strategy, man. This happened. This is an old, old, old strategy. Create chaos and play the victim. I believe it was dispatchers. The thing is that as one of the dispatchers said, this one right here, I think her name is pronounced Daria. Yeah, Daria. I think it's Daria. But this person, says that those calls, uh, The recording starts prior to the call, but not prior to the call, but before you get on, it says there have been several companies who start the recording prior to you saying something. So she's saying that the recording often starts before you start talking. That makes sense. So, and because that's exactly what happened in this situation. Now, it appears to me that some companies can decide that they don't want, depending on the service they have or depending on their settings, they can decide if they want calls to start immediately or once somebody picks up the phone and actually answers, right? But yeah, fam, that call, that call cannot be ruled out. They don't know what to do. They making up stuff talking about the call is made up. This is what people do when they cannot defend their position. They just start making up stuff that don't make no sense. But the goal is to cause confusion. It's really not to make sense. It's just to cause confusion, create doubt, have you second guessing yourself. But I ain't second guessing myself. Yeah, I wasn't there, but I know what happened. And what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.